The idea of resurrecting extinct species, a process known as de-extinction, has been a topic of fascination and debate for decades. But, with advancements in science, particularly in genetics and cloning, this once far-fetched concept has moved from science fiction into the realm of possibility. The history of extinction is deeply intertwined with human activity. As civilizations expanded, forests were cleared, ecosystems were altered, and species were lost. In recent centuries, many species have gone extinct due to habitat destruction, overhunting, and climate change. The woolly mammoth, the passenger pigeon, and the dodo are just a few examples of animals lost to history. In the modern world, however, there is a growing effort to reverse this tragic trend by bringing some of these species back. The technology of cloning, once pioneered with the famous sheep Dolly, has opened new doors. Cloning involves creating a genetic replica of an organism, often using cells from a deceased animal. In the case of de-extinction, scientists hope to apply this technology to bring back species that have been gone for centuries. But should governments be involved in funding such programs? To answer that, we must first understand the potential of cloning technology. In the 1990s, the first successful cloning of a mammal, Dolly the sheep, sent shockwaves through the scientific world. Dolly was cloned from an adult cell, a revolutionary step in genetic research. While cloning has evolved since then, it remains a highly complex and costly process. The revival of extinct species would require not only cloning technology, but also the extraction of well-preserved DNA from ancient remains. DNA degradation over time is a significant challenge in this process. The mammoth, for example, lived during the Ice Age, and its DNA is fragile and often fragmented. Scientists have made remarkable strides in sequencing ancient DNA from woolly mammoth remains found in permafrost. However, the challenge is not only recovering this DNA, but also filling in the gaps where it has degraded. Researchers are now turning to advanced genetic engineering techniques to insert mammoth genes into the DNA of closely related species, like the modern elephant. This approach could help overcome the degradation of ancient DNA, but it is still in its early stages. The potential benefits of de-extinction are vast. Reviving extinct species could restore ecosystems that have been disrupted by the loss of certain animals. For example, reintroducing the woolly mammoth could help combat climate change by stabilizing the tundra ecosystem. Woolly mammoths were once crucial in maintaining the balance of grasslands in the Arctic by feeding on shrubs and trees. Without them, the ecosystem shifted, leading to the release of large amounts of carbon stored in the permafrost. The presence of mammoths could help reverse this by keeping vegetation in check and preventing the thawing of permafrost. Moreover, bringing back extinct species could serve as a reminder of the importance of conservation. If we can revive species that have disappeared, we may feel a greater sense of responsibility for protecting the ones that are still with us. De-extinction could also offer valuable scientific insights. Studying revived species could help scientists understand their biology and behavior in ways that were not possible with fossil records alone. It could even allow for the creation of hybrids that possess traits of both extinct and living species. For instance, a revived woolly mammoth might have the resilience of its ancient ancestors combined with the intelligence and adaptability of modern elephants. However, there are significant challenges that come with cloning and de-extinction. One major concern is the cost. Cloning is an expensive process, with the current price of cloning an animal running into the millions of dollars. In the case of de-extinction, the cost would likely be even higher, as it requires not only cloning, but also the creation of a suitable habitat and the management of a revived population. Another concern is the ethical implications of bringing extinct species back to life. Should we bring back species that humans have driven to extinction, Or should we focus on preserving those that are still with us? Some argue that the resources spent on de-extinction could be better used to protect endangered species and restore habitats. Furthermore, there is the question of whether revived species would truly thrive in the modern world. Ecosystems have changed dramatically since many species went extinct, and a species brought back to life might struggle to adapt. There is also the risk that these species could become invasive, disrupting current ecosystems in ways that are difficult to predict. For instance, if woolly mammoths were reintroduced into the tundra, could they coexist with other species that have evolved in their absence? There is also the question of animal welfare. If cloned animals are not able to lead healthy, fulfilling lives, then what is the point of bringing them back? The cloning process itself has been linked to high rates of deformities and health issues in animals. It is unclear whether de-extinct species would face similar challenges. Another issue is the potential for unintended consequences. While de-extinction may seem like a scientific triumph, it could have unforeseen ecological consequences. For example, the revival of a species that was once extinct could lead to the displacement of other animals or disrupt the balance of an ecosystem in unpredictable ways. Some critics argue that funding should go towards solving current environmental issues rather than focusing on resurrecting the past. With so many species on the brink of extinction today, resources might be better spent on conserving habitats and preventing further extinctions. Furthermore, there is the potential for creating a false sense of security. If we believe that we can simply bring back extinct species whenever we choose, it may reduce our motivation to protect those that are still around. Governments have a crucial role in protecting biodiversity, but should they be responsible for funding de-extinction programs? On one hand, governments have the power and resources to support large-scale scientific endeavors. Governments could provide funding for research and development, as well as create policies that regulate the process of de-extinction. On the other hand, government funding is often limited, and there are competing priorities that demand attention, such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure. The allocation of public funds to controversial or speculative projects like de-extinction could face significant political hurdles. Additionally, some argue that private companies should take the lead in funding de-extinction, as they have the financial resources and the potential to drive innovation. For instance, companies like Colossal Biosciences, which are working on reviving the woolly mammoth, have already attracted significant investment. These companies have the ability to accelerate the research and development of de-extinction technologies without relying on government funding. The role of government, then, might be to regulate the process and ensure that any de-extinction efforts are conducted responsibly. Government regulations could address ethical concerns, such as animal welfare, and ensure that revived species are not released into the wild without thorough planning and consideration. Some might argue that governments should fund de-extinction programs as part of a broader strategy to combat climate change and restore biodiversity. If reviving certain species could help stabilize ecosystems and mitigate environmental damage, it might be worth the investment. However, others would counter that the priority should be on preserving the species that are still here, rather than bringing back those that are already gone. At the end of the day, the decision to fund de-extinction programs rests with society as a whole. It is up to governments, scientists, and the public to weigh the benefits and risks and to decide whether this bold experiment in biology is worth pursuing. Will we revive the past, or will we focus on saving the future? The answer to that question will shape the course of conservation science for years to come. While the idea of resurrecting extinct species is undeniably captivating, it is essential to approach it with caution and careful consideration. The implications of such an undertaking are vast, and the stakes are high. Governments may play a role in this endeavor, but they must do so responsibly, balancing scientific ambition with ethical concerns and practical realities. Ultimately, the true measure of success will not be in resurrecting species long lost, but in our ability to protect the ones we still have. Only by focusing on the future can we ensure a sustainable, biodiverse world for generations to come. In the end, it is not just about bringing species back from the brink, but also about preventing others from ever reaching that point in the first place. The fate of our planet's biodiversity is in our hands, and it is up to us to decide the course we will take. Will we bring back the woolly mammoth, or will we focus on protecting the elephants still roaming the earth today? The answer is not yet clear, but one thing is certain: our actions today will determine the future of life on this planet. The future of de-extinction may be uncertain, but our commitment to conservation must remain unwavering. The choice is ours, and it is a decision that will impact the planet for generations to come.